Hey guys, so we have a little bit to talk about. There is a new price point. I think it's here to stay with Arcanine. Last time I was talking about that it was like I think 1036 or 1100, somewhere around there. It was above $1,000. I didn't know if that was just because there was a inflection point where there was just none of these were available for a long time, and I bought the last one I think at like $450. I was doing a buyout. I bought like two or three of them, all within the span of like a month or two, and the only one that was available with these was this in conjunction with this one, and they were listed, still listed on eBay now for like $3,000, something like that. Something ridiculous right now for the time. In the future, that'll probably be like, oh yeah, I should have bought it then. Um, the most recent sale, again, this one sold last time I talked about for like 1,100. The most recent one just sold for over $1,000. Again, it was a 1,200 listing. It sold for just over 1,000 as a best offer, and I didn't buy it. It wasn't me, but I think that tells you like consistently. Now we have two data points, two of them that are over the $1,000 mark. These guys, which again, there's only 125 or 127 PSA 10 first edition copies in the pop report. So not only that, but the I think an 8 just sold, or an ungraded just sold for like 80 something dollars. A 9, first edition PSA 9 was on sale with a Growlithe as well, first edition PSA 10 Growlithe, so that you buy them together. And it was like, okay, the last 9 of this one sold by itself for like 172. So maybe this one, because that Growlithe will be, between 22 and like $28, maybe 30. Maybe it'll go for like 200. Went for over 220 because again, you had that Growlithe, which is probably not going to go for more than 30, 35 max. So this one is about, in 9 version, probably a $200 card now. If we're going 9s and ungraded, speaking of which, these guys have been ridiculous. Okay, the new price point for Charizard is definitely the same thing. I think it was the last PWCC auction was $1,100, somewhere along those lines. And not only that, since then we've had several of these, the 7s, 8s, 9s, and ungraded. The ungraded cards that I think personally would not grade a 9. They definitely wouldn't grade a 10. They wouldn't grade a 9. They'd maybe get a 7, maybe an 8, most likely a 7. The ungradeds are selling for the about a month ago for maybe 220, 230. Most recent one sold for almost 300. And then the PSA 7 just recently sold for $356. $356 for a 7. The 8, I'm not sure what that's selling for right now, but a 9 just sold. It was listed for 460. I offered 410 or 420 for it. I think he sold it for like 440, 450. There is another 9 out there right now that's as listed as 500 or best offer. Honestly, that's probably a good deal. That's probably a good deal because these are just the fucking, excuse my language, pardon my French, ungradeds are going for 350, which is ridiculous. So the 9s probably, yeah. And you have, ever since the 1100 sale of this one, PWCC, about a month ago, there have been an additional, I think, 4 or 5 of these that have gone on the market. None of them are below 1,500. They're anywhere from like $1,500 to $3,000, and they're all just absolutely, again, I don't want to say insane. Like right now, if back in, I don't want to say back in the day, like 2 years ago, I was excited because my average of buying these was $600. I bought them like 620, 650, got one for 550, and again, the most recent one I bought I think was for 770, something like that. And now the new price point, because it is what it is. It's 1,100. Charizard's always going to be the one that people want. The reason I think Arcanine is competing right now with Charizard because there's twice as many cards of Charizard in the PSA 10 first edition copies as are Arcanine. There is, I think, 247 right now or 257. It's around 250, where Arcanine's like 127. So it's just less than half of that, or about half of that, and that's why I think you're seeing some competition between these two right now. Also, the Arcanine is really not on the market. I think there's one on the market now. I don't know if I just said that, and that's going to be about, I think you can buy it for 1,600. And again, these two are right now are listed together for like 3,000. And to my knowledge, think about 2 months ago, just the holos, 1 through 20, first edition PSA 10, sold for 8,500. That I think is a good deal because you have these two that are at least 2,000. You have the Misty's Gold Duck, which is, I'm going to say probably 1,500 at least. I would pay, if I saw that 1,500, I would snipe it right now because there are so few copies. There is less than 50 copies, I believe, and that's just so insanely hard to get. I had a chance to buy one for 700. I should have bought it then. It's like a year ago. I didn't, and now I'm kicking myself because now I have to pay double the price. Pokemon is just like the stock market. You guys are looking at stock market right now. Yeah, there's Pokemon peaks and valleys, just as a stock market. It's going up, down, up, down. There's a little bit of squeeze in the stock market right now, but eventually that people are freaking out because they're losing 15% of their money, which doesn't sound like a lot. If it's $100, you lost $15, but if you have $100,000 in the market and you lose $15,000, all right, it's it kind of hurts a little bit. You have $1 million in the stock market and you lose $150,000. Yeah, basically most of my net worth. It just, that probably hurts. But what really hurts people is if they sell. Now, obviously, once I complete this collection with Misty's, not Seadra, with Misty's Gold Duck and Sabrina's Arrow number 94, I would not sell this whole first edition PSA 10 set for less than $20,000. Now, what is it probably worth? I don't know, 12, the 14. But just because it took me so long to get everything, and it's just fucking beautiful artwork. Look at them. I wouldn't do it. If you guys are looking to invest. Same is true with Pokemon as is with the stock market. The best thing you guys could possibly do is buy and hold. That's probably the best thing you guys could do because these, again, I paid for these 2 years ago. I was happy because I got the average price of about $600 for these. Now they're almost double. So you're looking at about 2x return in 2 years. There's not too many places that you're going to be able to find that. And that's just with these guys. These guys are already pretty high in price. This one wasn't. This one was, I think the most I ever paid recently was like 400, but back in the day, I think it was like 350. This is the most I ever paid for these, like 2 years ago. Up 3x. Now moving on to one that has had a lot of movement also. PSA 8 of this card just sold for 60-something dollars. The PSA 9s have been hovering. They were around around 80 for a while, and then they were hovering kind of around the 130 mark. Most recent one just sold for 150. Again, PSA 9 sold for 150. This one, I'm not sure what I'd value it at right now. I would say minimum 300. I'm not 100% sure. There hasn't been any recent sold listings for it. If there is, I'll totally buy one. But there is, you have growth in the ungraded market as well. So you have ones that are 8s that are selling. You have the Charizards with the ungraded that are selling like monsters, which are ridiculous. I want to say I wouldn't pay that but even if they get 7s, the 7 just sold for 350. So there's obviously room for growth. Now I don't know if that's normal people. That's people that kind of don't know too much about the hobby, saying that, hey, I'll pay it because I don't know the prices and because I don't know if I would pay that. But then again, I should. Look how much growth there is. Again, they've been doing it. This didn't just happen just once. That happened consistently over the last month or so. There's been numerous sales like that. An ungraded one of these, I think, just sold for 60 as well. It was in very good condition. It was near mint. And then we had one of these. This one, PSA 8, just sold for 22. No. An ungraded one right now is on sale, auction for 22. A PSA 8 just sold for 60. PSA 9 is on, I think it's on Macari, and it's on eBay right now for, I think, 105, which honestly, that's probably a really good deal. That's probably a really good deal because even though you're probably paying premium for it right now, in another year, that's probably going to be 150 because looking back on a recent one that I just saw, and I'm looking for, okay, so you could have gotten this card 2 years ago, PSA 9 version, again, first edition, for $30. Just sold for 109 PSA 9. So again, everything grows. Everything, as long as it's in very good condition, WotC first edition holos, that's what they do. So that's what I want to talk about today. If you guys have any questions, let me know. This is bananas right now. If you have that Misty's Gold Duck or that Sabrina's Abra number 94, you let me know, okay? All right, bye guys.